Yo, what is up, guys? James Carter TV here for yet another edition of my 32 teams in 32 days 2015 NFL season preview videos I've been doing for each and every team in the NFL. And today we're finally getting into the NFC South. Somehow on my schedule, I've avoided the NFC South up to this point, but let's finally get into it. And we're starting with, spoiler, the team I believe will win the AFC South, the New Orleans Saints. Now, you're already probably like going to the comments saying, you idiot, you clown, you fool, the Saints are rebuilding. Guys, and I'll get into this, and Saints fans, they know this, okay? The only thing that really happened to this team that people are pointing out and saying, rebuilding, is them trading away Jimmy Graham. But what people fail to realize is they got something in return, and they got someone that's pretty freaking good. Now, I will get into that and more with the entire New Orleans Saints teams. We're going to start with their strengths. We'll go into their weaknesses. We'll look at the toughness of their schedule, and I'll give you my win-loss prediction for how the Saints will do this season. So, the biggest strength, obviously, the quarterback position. Drew Brees entering his, season, maybe 13, 14, something like that. Yes, he did throw a little more interceptions last year than you would like, but guys, 25 out of 32 of you would want to have him as your quarterback. No one would have a problem as Drew Brees being your quarterback for the most part. Unless if your quarterback is Aaron Rodgers or Andrew Luck or that's it. Seahawks fans, hey, you would love to have Drew Brees over Russell Wilson. Let's just be honest. Drew Brees is still an upper echelon elite quarterback at his position. There's no doubt about that. Now, offensively, he has lost some pieces, and we'll see what he'll be able to do, but it's still not a problem having Drew Brees on your team. That's the biggest strength. The next strength, to me, is the offensive line. Now, there's one part of the offensive line that's in question and in flux right now. But when 4 out of 5 of something is good, you're good. So the big question there is Andres Pete at right tackle, rookie. They drafted him with the 13th pick in the first round of the 2015 NFL draft. He doesn't sound as if he's getting caught up to the speed of the game quite yet. So I don't know how he's going to perform. But the other side of the offensive line, you're good. Teron Armstead as a left tackle, he's a good left tackle to have. Zach Strief as your left guard, good, really good left guard. Max Unger, who you traded Jimmy Graham for. Guys, this guy is pretty good. Like, honestly, I don't know why people hated that Jimmy Graham traded so much. Guys, the Saints got a really good Pro Bowl center in Max Unger and a 2015 first-round draft pick who they ended up drafting Stephon Anthony, who will start. So they ended up netting 2 starters for 1. I think that's a pretty good deal, especially for a Jimmy Graham that can't be out there on blocking rundowns. He can't be out there. I thought the Saints won that trade, but, whatever. So Max Unger, who they got at the center position, really good Pro Bowl center there. Jari Evans at your right guard. You traded away Ben Grubbs, Jari Evans, and now at the right guard position, or maybe Ben Grubbs at the left guard position, then you move Zach Strief over. But whatever. Jari Evans at right guard, and then again, the right tackle position is an issue. It's a question, but maybe Andres Pete just comes in and plays well. But when 4 out of 5 of something is good, you're good. All right, so those are the big strengths. Now, the next strength is kind of but it's a strength nonetheless, and that's the secondary. All right, we have Keenan Lewis, who did not play as well as I liked him to in 2014. 2013, he was really good. 2013, Keenan Lewis was really good, and that was the reason why you were very dominant and able to get to the playoffs once again. Now, last year, I didn't like his play very much, so Keenan Lewis, a problem there. Not a problem there, but he's a good player. He's a good player. Their best corner, that much is certain. Opposite side, Brandon Browner. All right, this is a guy that was in the Legion of Boom, then went to the Legion of Deflate in New England, played opposite of Darrelle Revis, and now he'll be playing opposite of another good corner. Well, actually, he was playing opposite great corners then. Now he's playing opposite a good corner. He needs to do more than he did last year. Now, I'm not saying that he did bad, but now that, now that I think about it, he probably was getting thrown to more in Seattle and New England than he will be here. But you would still like to see him play better than he played last year. I would, at least. And to just draw less penalties. But that's a good number 2 corner to have. And then your slot corners, I don't trust them. You have Wilson, Stanley Jean-Baptiste may be in the mix there. I actually like Stanley Jean-Baptiste, but as an outside corner, not really a slot guy. I think he's too long. I think he's too, I don't want to say immobile, but he's not agile enough for a slot corner position. Outside corner, he can be. Outside corner is not really agility as it is where you can just win on raw speed and athleticism. Slot corner, you need to be agile. You need to be able to switch in corners really quickly. And that's why a lot of slot corners that you'll see, they're short. They're short guys. They're under 6 foot guys. They're 5'8", 5'9", 5'10" guys because they're able to be more agile and more quick in their turns than a long striding Stanley Jean-Baptiste. So you want to see him on the outside. Hopefully he can start producing for you in nickel packages, Stanley Jean-Baptiste. All right, now those are your biggest. Oh, and also let's not forget about the safeties. Kenny Vaccaro, who disappointed in 2014, but he showed you a lot his rookie season. And maybe now that he has a good safety or a really good safety opposite of him playing in Javis Bird, hopefully now his play will be helped once again. And Bird, come on guys, if this guy's healthy and if he didn't fall off because of that injury, this is a really good safety we're talking about. And the Saints defense is going to get a big help from this guy. So those are the biggest strengths. Weaknesses now. And the weaknesses aren't even that bad. It's just like a question mark. So the linebacking core for one. All right, you have Harrelson on one side and Kikaha backing him up. I don't know what Kikaha is going to produce. I think he's more of a pass rusher than just a 4-3 outside linebacker where he's going to be asked to cover a lot more than I would like. So I have questions there, but Kikaha is someone to look out for to challenge Harrelson. You have Danielle Ellerbe in the middle. I don't really like it. I mean, I know Saints fans, you want to believe that Danielle Ellerbe did bad because he went to Miami and you guys are going to do something with him that he was only capable to do in Baltimore. It's not going to happen. He's just not very good. And then your other linebacker against Stephon Anthony out of Clemson, 31st overall pick as a result of the Jimmy Graham trade. And I like him, and I think he'll be a good rookie producer for you. But again, he's a rookie, so I don't know what you're going to get from Anthony Kikaha or Davis Toll, who you drafted out of UT Chattanooga, who is someone to look out for as well in this position. He may not even make the team, but if he does, he's someone to look out for as well. So you also have Hawthorne in the linebacking core. They're not just weak. Like, I see some worse linebacker cores in the NFL, believe you me, like the New York Jets or the New York Giants. But, I mean, it's not that bad, but there's just a lot of questions here on this linebacking core. Wide receivers, they're a weakness, guys. But the good thing is, when you have a really good quarterback, it really doesn't matter. So, like, a guy like Josh Morgan, who sucks. Well, maybe he doesn't suck, but he's mediocre, nothing special. Will overproduce because of a man named Drew Brees, who will transform him into a great target for you. And that's why Josh Morgan is doing anything, and that's beyond me. You also have Nick Toon, who has been a disappointment thus far, even with Drew Brees. How that happens, I'll never know. You also have Brandon Cooks. Now, this is a guy that was looking as if he could have got over 1,000 yards last season, had an injury. I think he'll have 1,000 yards this season, so pick him up in fantasy. I really, really think you should. Marcus Colston, who's been on a steady decline ever since, like, 2012, but he's still serviceable, I guess. He'll get you 800 yards if you're lucky. And your tight ends, they're weak, but the thing is, and I alluded to this earlier, I aforementioned this earlier, that because Jimmy Graham was such a poor blocker, and he was poor, he wasn't able to be out there on rundowns when you needed him to be able to block someone well. Now, Benjamin Watson and Josh Hill, that's something on the contrary that they can do quite well, especially Benjamin Watson. So they're not going to catch a lot of balls for you, but now you'll be able to have that added faucet in the run game. Now, your running backs, I didn't say this was a strength, but maybe I should have, but there's not a guy, in order for it to be a strength, there needs to be a guy that's a top 10 in his position. None of these running backs are top 10. I don't even think they're top 15. We're talking about Mark Ingram, C.J. Spiller, Kyrie Robinson, and I think Marcus Murphy, who you drafted this year. I think that's his name. Look, they're not very. I mean, they're okay. They're serviceable. Like maybe they're top 15. Maybe like Mark Ingram is number 15, but they're all like I think from anywhere from 15 to like 25. Like they're all in that range. The good thing for them is that they're running behind this offensive line. And now you're running behind a Max Unger who helped Marshawn Lynch become who he is. So that will help them. But I wouldn't say it's a strength, but it's fine. It's average, honestly. They have 3 average guys, and behind a good offensive line, you can do something. Your defensive line, it's neither a strength nor a weakness. Now, you lost Junior Gillette, and that's because of your own doing. You just said, hey, fuck off. I went this whole video without profanity somehow. Then it finally slipped out. So, Junior Gillette is out. Now you add, you didn't add it. Oh, no, you added Anthony Spencer. I don't know what he's going to do. Can he still start and play 75-80% of snaps to the defensive end position? Honestly, I don't think so. But we'll see what he can do. In the middle, you have Akeem Hicks and Bunkley. They're serviceable. They're fine. And then Cameron Jordan, okay, let's have a conversation. And I'm not sure exactly how many sacks he had last year. I know it was definitely lower than 2013, though. So I'd like to see him get back to that 2013 level because he's going to need to carry this defensive line. And he's going to have to carry them for the most part. So hopefully he can produce like he did in 2013. So there's the strengths. There's the weaknesses. Let's look at their schedule, shall we? Now, the New Orleans Saints this year find themselves in the NFC South, as always. And this is a pretty relatively easy division. It was really easy last year because the winning team was 7-8-1. Now, it'll be harder. I think your boys, the Falcons, I think they're going to be better. I think, obviously, you're going to be better. I think the Panthers are just the same. I think they're just the same crap. Honestly. I really do. And I'll get more into that in my Panthers video. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be improved, but very ever so slightly. Like, if you lose to Tampa Bay, I'll be shocked. So, with that said, I think you'll do pretty well in your division. You also find yourselves going up against the AFC South, the worst division in football, and that is to your benefit. The problem is the schedule isn't that. Isn't very strongly to your benefit, and I mean this. This is what I mean. If you could, you're going to Indianapolis and you're going to Houston, 2 road games. If you guys were hosting those games, you would go 4-0 in the AFC South. You really would. I'm serious. But because you're going to Indy and you're going to Houston, those will be tougher than they need to be. Now, I'm saying this as if the Saints are really good at home, but last year they weren't. So I'm assuming they're getting their home voodoo back. So let me just say that now. So assuming they get their home voodoo back, I wish they were hosting Indy and they were hosting Houston, the tougher of the battles, presumptively. Although I don't think Houston's going to do that well. And then you're hosting Tennessee. You're actually hosting Tennessee, and you're actually hosting Jacksonville. So I think you'll still go like 3-1, but you may lose in Indy. But I think you'll beat the Texans. So there's that. You also face the 2 NFC teams that you were on the same division ranking with, and that's Arizona Cardinals and the Detroit Lions. You go to Arizona and you host the Detroit Lions. Those would be tough games. You'd be lucky to split those games. So I'd say split there. You may sweep, honestly, now that I think about it. I think you could really beat Detroit in New Orleans. And also at Arizona week 1, you could sneak up on them. And then the NFC division that you're actually facing, who is that? The NFC East, including trips to Philadelphia and to the Washington Redskins. Okay, Washington in there. I know it's a road game. I know you have problems with road games. That should be fine for you. Now, this is a pretty easy schedule. This is a pretty easy schedule. I've looked at it before. I'm just going through it again. You face the easiest team or division in the NFC to me, and that's the NFC South. You face the easiest team in the AFC, or in the NFL, in the AFC South. So boom, just like that, those are you have the best case scenario in that terms, and being in a bad division and facing a bad division. The NFC East, though, might give you some problems, but I don't think they're that good. I think the Cowboys are really good. I think everyone else is catching up. So with this easy schedule in mind, I'm the best case scenario for the New Orleans Saints. They're back. They're 12-4. Drew Brees showed everybody, hey, you gave me a run game. You gave me a good offensive line. Look out for the New Orleans Saints, and they go 12-4. Worst case, they're not gonna do worse than 7-9, guys. I mean, come on. I don't know why. I mean, I've seen some analysts predict 4-12. They're rebuilding. They're rebuilding, guys. You wanna know who's rebuilding? The Jacksonville Jaguars have been rebuilding for the past 5 years. The Redskins are rebuilding. The Titans are rebuilding. Teams that don't have anyone defensively or offensively. But if you have a freaking top 5 quarterback in Drew freaking Brees, you're not freaking rebuilding. You're not going to lose more than 9 games. You're not. Like, the only case where a really good quarterback has lost more would be Matt Ryan. But that's it. If you have a top quarterback like Phillip Rivers has had some ass teams, dude, and including a couple of the past couple of years, like they have no one defensively. Now they do, but in 2013, for example, they had no one defensively. And Phillip Rivers still went 10-6. And then years before that, he was still going 8-8. If you have a top flight quarterback, you're not going to lose more than 9 games. They have Drew Brees. They're not going to be worse than 7-9. My prediction, 10-6. NFC South champions. And the Falcons will challenge, though. I think the Falcons will challenge you. I don't think the Panthers will, but I think the Falcons will. So keep your eye on them. But my prediction is the New Orleans Saints to win the AFC South at a record of 10-6. Until next time, James Carter TV, I'm out. Peace.